Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 18th Annual Tallgrass Film Festival. Thank you, sponsors, and thank you to our viewers who are joining us virtually. If you are enjoying yourself, let everyone know on Facebook and Instagram, and tag us at Tallgrass Film and hashtag Tallgrass 2020. Welcome, Infinite Wild Lasts, or Haiku from a Dead Poet, producer Sophia Vickenhauser.
Hey guys, so good to be here.
So, first of all, please tell us about yourself.
I'm just a filmmaker from Brazil. I'm in Brazil. It's really hot right now, and I make films and I make shorts. What else is there to say? It's just so straightforward. It's just what it is.
So it's hot there right now?
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Oh, okay,
Today
yeah.
is like the first actually like sunny day that we've had for like, I would say like 2 weeks. Okay, so first question, how was this experience making this short film different from your other film experiences?
That's such a good question though. I think it was a challenge to just do something by myself without any assistance whatsoever. It just felt like I was always trying to find meaning in myself, in my work, just like with no one to talk to, no one to bounce ideas off of. So I guess it was a learning experience on how to get an idea across without without a crew, without money, without resources, like absolutely just by myself in my computer, way before the pandemic. Now everyone's doing it, but I was doing it for everyone else, and and I was finding ways and just like trying to find a meaning. How am I going to get this across? How am I going to do this? And it was really fantastic. It was a fantastic experience, but it's really hard to do it. Like I think I was lucky that everything that I was feeling in photographing and in living just sort of came together. I'm not really sure if I can do it again, like spontaneously. Just like let's just get my hard drive and get some photos and put a film together. I think it would be really hard. And I guess in the end, my biggest partner in this was the actor Julio Aracaki. He was the one who narrated the film, and for me he was the cornerstone. Like I need to do it because Julio is expecting me to send him the test, the narration, to send him the next whatever the next version of the film. So like he kept me going. So that was really interesting. That was like a really interesting experience to just like have one partner and just do everything by myself before that. Yeah.
So how was it? How did you find a way to bounce ideas off of yourself instead of other people?
Yeah, I just tried my hardest to understand what other people saw in the image that I was putting on the screen. Just like what is this image? Why do I feel so melancholic when I look at it? Do other people feel like that? Why is it? Is it the angle? Is it the light? Is it this and that and this and that? And just trying to like have a conversation with someone who wasn't there, just like with a little ghost of an audience. So that's how I managed to get like this ideas across and get them back to me with a different reading, if that makes sense. But it feels like it's the film is there. Like I think a lot of people like it because it's been through like a long festival circuit by now. But it's like I wonder what it would have been like if other people had been in the project. Like, of course, it would have been a totally different film. But I wonder, like, would it have been better, like a better film? Would more people be attracted to it? I just really wonder about that because I only had my own ideas, to work with, and like my own perception of what people would like to watch and what people would see in those images. So like it's still limited. It's still my own opinions, So yeah.
That's amazing. I need to learn how to do that. What kind of movies and films did you really like, and how did you translate that into this short film?
I think my biggest reference for this was Chris Marker, La Jetée, like, which is like the probably the most famous short with narration and still images. Everyone loves that film. Chris Marker was a genius, but it's like, for me, that is like one of my biggest references ever, because he manages to set everything. He manages to do everything with just some images, and some images from the Second World War, and just this narration on top of it. And he does it. He just does it. You know, it's just like, it's so amazing. So for me, he's like, when I saw him for the first time, when I saw that film, I knew it had something to do with me. I wasn't a filmmaker at the time. Wasn't thinking about it, but I knew it has something to do with me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when you're like, I don't know what about this. It's me, but it is. And it was like on the back of my mind for like years and years and years. And then I became a filmmaker. And then suddenly I was like, oh my God, you know, like, Chris Marker made the film that I'm trying to make today. So, you know, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So how did you make that transition of like, oh, I'm not a filmmaker, to, oh my gosh, I think I'm a filmmaker?
Oh, it just, I think it's when you realize that there's nothing glamorous about it. Because for me, like, growing up, filmmakers were only white American men, just like Spielberg. Like, who's a filmmaker? Spielberg is a filmmaker. And I couldn't see myself doing that. Like, it wasn't even a possibility to me. So when I tried, like, I started thinking about becoming a filmmaker, I wouldn't tell anyone. I was just like studying sort of in secret, and just like doing a few screenwriting programs, and just like, oh, but I don't want to be a filmmaker. I'm just studying. I'm just, just learning. Exactly. And it was like, it took me so long to just say it, like, because for me, it's just like, it's this big deal. You got to be really special. You got to be this amazing filmmaker if you want to really be a filmmaker. But for me now, I realize that it's just like, I'm a filmmaker. It's just what it is. There's no way around it. Every family has one, the black sheep. There's nothing to be done about it, and there's nothing glamorous, or like, even when we go to such interesting festivals like yours, and we get some awards and stuff, it doesn't really, it's not that thing that it's made out to be, so that's how I did it. It's just like slowly understanding that you can be just like a mediocre filmmaker, an okay filmmaker, and still call yourself a filmmaker, And,
I don't think you're mediocre, but I understand what you're saying.
Thank you. That's very kind.
So how did you find out about the poem, or what is the story behind this poem?
So, maybe I should start with that on Q&As, but the director and the person who wrote the poem, they're all me. I just use pseudonyms. I think you call it then in English, mm-hmm. which are like aliases. Mm-hmm. For my directing work, and like when I do other stuff like poems and stuff, I don't write them with my own name. So for me, I wanted to create something to do with the melancholy that I was feeling in London when I was studying there. I lived there for a year and a half just now. And I wanted to talk about this feeling of finally getting exactly what you want, and still feel sort of like there's something missing, or there's something that's not quite right about it. And for me, and I think for a lot of Brazilians and South Americans in general, there's this dream of going abroad, or just like immigrating and living in a country, better conditions, with better possibilities and bigger dreams. But when you get there, there's something about it that it doesn't, because it's not your country, it's not your culture, your family isn't with you. There's so much stuff, and just loneliness in general, right? Like immigrating is so lonely. And I wanted to do something about that, but I didn't want to talk about my experience. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Just like I didn't want to say, oh, you know, I am a Brazilian in London and I feel this and that and that. I wanted to talk about that, but through narrative somehow. And I slowly created that poem. Like I realized that I wanted to demonstrate that in a way that so many people would be able to understand that if they hadn't immigrated. And I realized that romantic love was a possibility for that. Just like this idea of, because people feel that way, you know, like they fall in love and they don't, the love is unrequited and they are separated from the ones they love. So it feels easier for people to grasp that feeling. So that's why I created this poem that is more to do with this character. The character is a man, and I wanted like a degree of separation between me and the character as well. And I felt like Julio Arakaki, the actor, he would be amazing because he's a Japanese Brazilian actor. So we talked so much about immigration and, you know, like this idea of being Brazilian and not being Brazilian, or not being seen as Brazilian because you have Japanese ancestry. And I realized that he would be able to have something to do with the film. And he did, like he was very impressed that it had nothing to do with anything he had lived, but it still spoke to him, you know, like in a human level. So that's how I created the poem. I just wanted for it to be something that could be grasped in any, I'm not gonna say any culture, but like from most cultures, you could understand the situation there. But I think the very frustrating thing to me was that there were not a lot of rhymes. And for me, it's like, you gotta rhyme, and it wouldn't rhyme. It was like going insane online, just going on Google, like what rhymes with window? And not be able to write anything. So I was just like, there was a moment I was like, okay, it's not gonna rhyme. It's not gonna rhyme. Let's go. Let's get on with it. Oh my God.
I love that you like really struggle with trying to make it rhyme. That is so funny to me. That was like the top of your mind. You were like, oh my God.
Top priority. I couldn't, for some time I couldn't write because I couldn't find a rhyme for the next line. It was like, he got it. It has to rhyme.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. So how did you approach the editing? Because it was very like simplistic, and then it like sped up when it was like going. I loved when it sped up, by the way. Like when I watched that part, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go crying right now. Like, wow.
So the editing, I think I really struggle with the editing because it's something that I have been struggling with my entire like career so far. I never been able to edit any of my films. I always have to ask other people to come on board with that. And for me, it just felt like it was really on the feeling, you know, just like the feeling. What is the feeling right now? And I just get the image. But how long do I want to see this image? And just trying to work on that. And yeah, it's just like on the feeling, you know. There was no technique beyond that. It feels to me like, you know, like all those techniques. So you gotta cut when the actors blinks, or you know, or when he turns his face, and then you cut to the whatever, and then to the close-up, and just like there was nothing of that. Like there was nothing to use with that because I only had images of windows. Just the entire film is windows. So it just felt like I really had to listen to the feeling, and it's really biased because it's just my feeling. And then I, of course, afterwards, I asked a lot of people, you know, like, what do you feel about the film? Should I cut something else? Should I change something, etc.? I did have some feedback, but like the entire process is always me, and just hoping that other human beings feel the same. And just like, oh, hopefully I'm not, you know, like a total loser who's absolutely in love with these images of windows, and like no one's gonna watch this. I'm just gonna be here sitting in the basement, just like, oh, I'm a genius.
Oh my gosh. I love that you like, I talk to so many filmmakers that say like, oh, well, I talked about this and I thought about the lighting, you know, things like that. And then it's like, you're like, you know what, the feeling. And that's, I feel that. Like, Wow. Okay. So, what about the film are you most proud of?
Oh, such a good question. I think I'm most proud of just getting it out there. It's just like, it's something, sometimes I hear this and I'm like, yeah, you're proud of getting it out there, huh? Of course. And it just sounds so condescending, but it's like, this is what it is. And I'm just like so proud that I got over all the difficulties of making it. And it just, I never, honestly, I never thought it would be so hard to do something by yourself, because when you have other people, you sort of have someone else to answer to. Like, people are expecting the script, people are expecting to be paid, they're expecting to receive whatever. They're expecting to have you there on the day or on the whatever meeting, and you have to answer to people. So you got to do the work. But when you have no one to answer to, it's just so hard to just get over yourself, get over your difficulties, and like the rhyming thing, and the editing thing, that was also really hard, and just getting everything put together. And for me, it just feels like, and using my own photos, because I use my own photos, and it's my poem, and it just feels like getting everything together and having other people watch it. For me, like, it's like this huge step, just huge, because everything else you can always, when it's a group thing, you can always just like say it's a group, just like, oh, that scene sucks, but everyone is to blame, not just me,
Mhm.
like, everyone. And that, you don't act like the acting, also blame the actor, not me, like, it's not just me. But it feels like, this time, except for Julio's cooperation, everything is me, like, everything is me. So it's really, it feels like I'm really exposed, and to do that and get over it and still come out the other side. That is really like a really, a maturing process to me. Like, I feel like I'm different after this film, more than the other films even.
Yeah. So, how did you stay motivated through all these trials and errors? Like, what were you like, okay, this is the end goal kind of thing?
I felt like it was two things, basically. The first one, it was this feeling that I really had to express somehow, because it felt like if I tried to do it later, like, I'm in Brazil right now, I'm back, with my family. I don't feel that way anymore here, because there's Corona, there's so much to worry about and so much to do. There is no time to feel melancholic. I don't feel that way anymore. I felt like it had to do it. Like, if I wanted to express that feeling, it had to be that, like, it had to be right now. I had to do it. I had to do it, because I finished the film in December, if I'm not mistaken, last year. So there was no Corona, there was no nothing. It was like, it was everything that I had to do, and it felt like it would be a missed opportunity. I would always be trying, if I tried to do it later, I would always be trying to remember what it felt like, and never actually grasping anymore, just like trying to imitate something that is already gone, in a way. And I really, so like, that's really what motivated me. Like, I gotta do it now. Like, I'm feeling it so strongly about this. I gotta, it's not that they're gonna be feeling different after I'm done with the film. I just want to express it, like, I just want to get it out there. And the second thing is this, just sort of this pressure that suddenly takes, filmmakers, like especially young ones like me, which is like, you gotta have a next film. Like, what? But you gotta did this. What's the next film? What's the next film? What's the next film? And just like, when there's no next film, it just feels like, oh, are you quitting? Are you not filmmaker anymore? So it feels like, to be relevant, I constantly have to produce. And also, this that tension just got me through, producing.
So, how did you take these pictures? Like, were you just like walking around and like seeing windows?
So I have a window fetish,
Mhm.
just between you and me.
Okay, it's only between me and you. Mhm.
Yeah, it is. So it's something that it's in all my films, but sometimes it's on the other way around. Sometimes it's from inside the house. Sometimes it's just, there are other ways to put windows in your film, if you want to put windows. And I'm also a photographer. I used to be a photographer, I guess. And I was living in London, studying in London, working, and I would just take photos while I walked, without any pretension or just like just taking photos. And because of this fetish, it's usually windows. Of course, I take other types of photos, but it's just something that I keep doing, you know. And there's not. I just want to live the feeling. Like, you realize I'm a very person of feelings.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss the opportunity of doing something that will feed the feeling, that will realize the feeling. So that's why I take so many pictures of windows, because it's just the thing that I like the most, the thing that I notice the most, I guess, when I'm walking. And then when I was creating the film, I realized, oh my God, let me take the photos that I gathered for like a year worth of photos. But I realized that it had to make sense, you know, because I had so many photos, like photos of Reynolds. It just, when I realized that I was taking photos of so many windows, that's when the narrative of the guy in the window, you know, that's how it came to be. But it wasn't like, you know, like let me take photos so then I can make a film 1 year from now, you know.
Right.
It's just like, that's what I'm saying, just like for a film like this to exist, you need sort of to live your desires in your truths, I guess. Just like you gotta do it, because if you're gonna say, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna go out today and take photos of sewers so I can make a film about sewers, just like, is it gonna be the same thing? Like, are you gonna work on that for a year? You know, and just so many chances, you know, like just walking from work and you see something, just like this. These aren't things that you're gonna find just trying to find them.
Because the moment you try to find them, they're gone.
Exactly. If you go back the next day, the light is not going to be the same. But it's going to be different. It's just not going to be the same thing. So it feels like that's why a film like this, you gotta really work, and you can't be too prepared. You know, like you can just do a schedule and try to have the photos on the schedule. It's
just let your feelings guide you, kind of thing.
Exactly. Let your heart guide you.
Wow. So, what do you think? I know we've talked about this, but what do you think is the overarching message of your film?
I think the message is, are you really sure you're not going to regret it? Like, whatever it is that you're going through, like, are you sure you're not going to regret it? Like, if you do something or you don't do something? Because it's the thing, like, it feels to me like people say that you're going to get over it. Just like, oh, you know, like, whoever moved out, you're going to get over it. You're going to fall in love again. So like, I'm really sure. I'm really sure about that. Like, I wonder, you know, like people who are in love for several decades, and you know, like all those experiences that you say like, oh, you're only lonely now, you're not going to be lonely later, you know, it's just a phase. It was just like, oh, is it really, like, are you sure? And it feels to me that that's the message, you know. It's just like, the film is about a guy who wanted to tell someone he loved this person, but he didn't. And decades later he's still thinking about it. And it just feels like this is what I don't want to be like. I don't want to be someone who's decades later thinking about it. And I am a person who does that, and just like still thinking about that moment in high school, that moment in middle school. And just like, I don't want to be this person, because this idea that you're just gonna get over it, it doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like you're going to every time for everything. So for me, that's the message of the film, you know. It's just like, do you want to get stuck looking at windows for eternity? No, don't just go out there and take a chance, you know.
That is literally amazing. I'm gonna like put that on my wall, inspirational. So what else would you like to say to our audience? Even though, you know, I know like we like to pretend it's just you and me, but like they're just like kind of here, but
I guess just really enjoy this moment in time when you can watch anything from your living room, because usually in festivals you can't just watch whatever, because some things are going to be screening when you're working, and you know, you're not going to be able to make it, etc., etc. And this time you can literally watch everything. So like, I'm taking advantage of that so much, and I'm trying to get people to take advantage of that, just like how much in touch we are, just like because people are on the internet all the time now, and they're not as busy. Like a lot of people are not as busy because of the pandemic, etc. Like myself. So it feels like this is the moment to connect, to like reach out to filmmakers, to whatever you want to reach out to, and to just watch and just get more experiences that you didn't have before. It feels like this was something that people were doing on the beginning of the pandemic. Like people were just like, getting so much stuff done, like so many programs and so many learning courses and whatever. And now it's sort of like losing that.
Yeah.
As people go back to normal. And it feels, yeah, exactly. And this is what I wanted people to just sort of like appreciate more, just do more stuff, do things that you wouldn't normally do, I guess, like watch films that you normally wouldn't watch, to see what that's like. And, just try new things.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us.
The pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much for having me.